Hey there, Jesse here with eTrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at the B&W Companion fifth wheel, and I'll show you how to get it set up in your 2020 Ram 3500. If you're just getting into fifth wheel towing or you're looking to upgrade your current hitch, then you've definitely heard the B&W name. They're held in really high regards just because they have super high quality products and they're also super easy to use. The fifth wheel hitch is just something that you're going to need if you're towing a fifth wheel trailer. It's going to allow you to hook up to the kingpin of that trailer. This kit is for Rams with the factory puck system, so if you don't have a factory puck already installed, then we do have some kits that will allow you to get a fifth wheel like this set up. Also, this is a fixed fifth wheel, meaning it's not able to slide forward or backwards. Once you get it set up, it's just going to be in that position, which is just fine on this long bed truck. We don't have to worry about cab clearance or anything like that. But if you have a short bed truck, then I definitely recommend looking into a sliding fifth wheel, which B&W actually offers a sliding companion just like this one. Now for the specs on this fifth wheel, we have a vertical load limit of 6,250 pounds. That's the amount of weight that can be pushing down on the hitch, and a gross towing weight of 25,000 pounds. That's the amount of weight that you can pull with the hitch. Also be sure to check your Ram's owner's manual just to ensure that your truck can handle that weight safely. A really nice feature of the Companion is this jaw. It's actually 360 degrees, so you're going to have full contact on your kingpin. It's going to cut down on vibrations and chucking and anything like that. So the way it works, you'll just pull your pin. You would most likely be outside on the side of the truck. You can easily reach it by standing on the tire, but you'll pull your handle back, and we don't have a trailer here, so we have a kingpin here. You're going to be backing up to your trailer and lock that handle into place. As you can see, that kingpin's not going to move a whole lot. One other thing that we almost always recommend is instead of just constantly having grease all over this, that can get quite messy and annoying to have to keep redoing. We recommend getting a lube plate like this. It's going to cut down on any scratching on the top of your coupler here and make a nice smooth action. Also, to cut down on those vibrations and chucking, there are some rubber bushings or urethane bushings that cut down on that side-to-side motion. Also, your pivot arms, which the head sits on, have some nice strong urethane that's going to cut down on that vibration. So we'll just take the head off real quick. You just have to remove your pins and clips, pull up on your handles here, and lift it up. This is brand new, so it's going to be a tight fit, but get that lifted up, and you can see the pivot arms here have that urethane that I talked about. One really nice thing about the factory puck system fifth wheels like this one, as opposed to other options out there like industry standard rails, which will take up space in your bed, when you're not using this fifth wheel, you can remove it and put it in storage somewhere. And with it removed, you'll have full access to your bed, which is really nice when you need to load up some plywood or anything like that. But I'd recommend having two people to do it and take the head off like I did earlier. And then as far as removing the base, you'll just slide these pins out and give this handle a quarter turn, and then this will lift out of the puck system. And then when you're ready to load the fifth wheel back up, just drop it down into place and another quarter turn and lock it up with your pin and clip. Anyways, if you're looking into getting a fifth wheel hitch or you're looking to upgrade your current hitch, you really can't go wrong with the Companion. And as for the installation, it's a pretty simple process with this factory puck system. I just recommend having an extra set of hands because everything is pretty heavy, and some general hand tools, and you'll get the job done. If you want to see how that process goes, just follow along and I'll walk you through it. Also, if you've gotten this installed yourself, you have some tips or tricks, or you just want to share some photos of what you're using your Companion for, please feel free to leave a review or a comment. To start our installation, you want to just make sure there's no debris or anything and your covers for your puck system are taken out. Then I like to take the pins out of all of the legs here. That way we can easily rotate it once we get it into position. I also recommend having an extra set of hands. I have my friend Aiden here. This base is quite heavy, but we'll get this positioned over our pucks here. and get it to drop down into place, and make sure all of these will turn pretty easily. If you're finding that you're having issues turning this, then you can adjust this. You just have to slide this cotter pin out. I like to use a pair of side cutters to work it out. Just don't cut it all the way because you'll have to reinstall it. Get that worked out, and you'll just turn this castle nut. Either way, it's not going to be super tight. You can do it by hand, but this is going to bring that up and down. So just get it to where you can turn it, but it's not too loose or too easy. So right there with a little resistance, and reinstall your cotter pin. The next step is when you need to get all your measurements and figure out where your pivot arm should be mounted. The instructions have it laid out pretty clearly, and there's a bunch of steps to it. I'm not going to go over it. Also, we don't have a trailer here, so I'm just going to set ours up in the middle position. But with this off, you can see there's multiple holes. You can put the pivot arm either in this position, and you have multiple options going up and down. Also, you can change which side. As you can see, there's an angle, so we're going to go in the middle. So I'm going to use these back holes and have the pivot arm angled forward. We'll get our block here. We'll go through the handle hole here. It is kind of tricky to get this into position, but just kind of pivot it to get it lined up with those holes. And we'll take one of the bolts with a split washer, and I'll get one of these started. Another thing to mention is sometimes this powder coat makes it so that bolt's hard to get through, so I'll just run the bolt in and out a few times before I have all this in my hand to make it just a little bit easier. So for the first hole, I'll just kind of lean the pivot arm back like this and get it loosely threaded on, and that should kind of help hold it while I get the other bolts installed. Once you have those two bolts loosely installed, we'll do the same thing with the other block on the other set of holes, and then of course it's the same process on the other pivot arm. Now we'll get these snugged down with a 3/4 inch socket. Now we'll get these torqued down to the specification listed in the instructions. If you don't have your own torque wrench, we do have some options available here at eTrailer. Also, you could rent one from your local auto parts store. I'd recommend getting a longer 1/2 inch because these torque specs are pretty high. We need to install our leveling kit. There's going to be a spring and a clip in a bag, along with a bolt and a nut. These are 11 millimeters, so you'll need an 11 millimeter socket and a wrench or 2 wrenches. But you'll have it put together like this with this tab on the inside. And to install it, what we want is the top of this to be a 1/2 inch under our rubber here, and we want it on the driver's side rear. So one thing I usually do is take a screwdriver and spread it out because these clips can be really hard to get installed. So we'll try to get it with a hammer. We're almost ready to get our coupler thrown on here, but first we're going to use some of the included grease on our saddle here. It's just going to cut down on any squeaking or vibrations and also keep this rubber lasting a long time. So we get that spread out on both of them. Now we'll pull our clips and our locking pins out. Lift up on our two handles here. And get this set in place. So once you get it pushed down, your handle should automatically engage. And we'll just slide our pins and get them clipped back up. We'll install our handle now, so I'll just undo our clip and pin here. Pull the handle back into the open position and slide our handle in. Start with one of our hex head bolts, get a nut started on the back side. I'm going to be installing these in these two back holes here. Then we can tighten those down with a 7/32 Allen wrench or hex head bit and a 9/16 socket. With a handle installed, just get those snug down and make sure everything's opening and closing as it should, and then reinstall your pin and clip. And there's one final step. Otherwise, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the B&W Companion fifth wheel on our 2020 Ram 3500. I'm Jesse. Let's hit the road.